What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to JJD TV. I'm your host, Josh, and we are back with the community takeaways with the game between Eintracht Braunschweig and, of course, Borussia Dortmund, where we had a relatively comfortable 2-0 victory. I wanted to do these community 5 takeaways, as you guys know, with a positive result. Honestly, that is exactly what I was looking for, and we weren't able to do it in the last one, which annoyed a lot of us, which is why I wanted to come back today. I had a few things I had to do during the game, which is why I wasn't able to do the watch-along, but I had a lot of fun doing the community takeaways after even the tough defeat we had, so I thought it'd be funner to end it on a high note and end it here with, obviously, the community takeaways with a relatively decent performance. So we got some on Twitter that we're going to obviously address first, as well as I'm going to try to get to as many as we can in the chat. The last game was a poor result, which led to a lot of comments, and I wasn't able to get to all of them. I tried to delay it a little bit just to see if I can hopefully get, time to get through them all. So I'm going to try to get through them ASAP, starting with the ones on Twitter. So yeah, so we went into this game, and a few things caught my eye, and I'm excited to hear what you guys think. You guys probably think I sound like a broken record when it comes to Dahoud, but I seriously am. I am a broken record. That's exactly what I am, because I had no idea what was going to happen with Dahoud this season. I thought he was honestly going to potentially get a transfer somewhere. He ended up staying. He ended up having good performances, and he wasn't even in the traveling team today, and I have no idea why. Some people have been giving me some theories, so that was something that stood out. I was relatively impressed with the starting 11. It looked pretty decent. I was excited for, obviously, our center forward there, but for the most part, I was just excited to see the boys play and, watch how they played in their white jerseys. So I put it out to you guys for our community takeaways on Twitter, and this is some of the stuff that we got. We had Harrison, who said Triggs should be a bench player. He should be on bench duty because he could be a potential in-house center forward. I agree. I agree, because money could potentially be a big issue when it comes to the January transfer window. Of course, the rumors of people linking to us, I've mentioned that transfer money as well as transfer targets could be up in the air depending on who our future manager could be. So I absolutely agree with that takeaway, and he put in a good showing today. He obviously battled. I really was impressed with the one situation where the ball looks like it's going out. You're getting blocked by the defender, and it just showed the kind of speed he had and the muscle as well to be able to take out that defender, get the ball back, and get it into attacking position. So I was definitely impressed with that. Murai, when he's more patient, is much improved. And I think Murai needs that in his game to be able to try to adapt into a right back position. I always saw him as a right wing back in a 3-4-3 formation, but when it comes to a 4-2-3-1, as you said, Harrison, he definitely needs to be a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more patient with the ball, remember his defensive abilities, and I thought he had a strong outing today. He gave the ball away sloppily in the middle of the park, which I did not like. It was just a little too lackluster, but for the most part, I was impressed with what Murai did today. Decision-making near the box is still too reliant on Holland. Yeah, and I don't know what's going to get us around that, to be completely honest. Holland was such a big part of and is still obviously a big part of our team, and to take him out with the goals that he had and not a natural replacement, it can sometimes be a little unnatural, and that's honestly the only word I can really think of, because I absolutely agree with that point right there. And without Holland, it just kind of seems like each winger, each playmaker is a little hesitant to get the ball into an area where someone can put in the box because they know Holland's not there. So I absolutely agree with that takeaway as well. I think we comfortably dominated the game. I don't think anyone can disagree, but there was some times where they had some chances against us, and we had to obviously rely on a little bit of skill, and that's what we had to do to get the job done. And Sancho continues to work hard and needs the reward. And yes, he did get rewarded today. He had a well-taken goal. Of course, the assist as well, which was a nice delivery in the box. Where apparently our center backup striker, Hummels, will put that in the back of the net every single time. But yeah, for the most part, I was relatively happy with Sancho's performance. This had to be a game where he shined. I mean, he's got too much talent. He's been quiet for too long. And to be fair, they're a second division team in 15th place. So if he can't do it in these kind of games, then there would have been a real issue. But I was relatively happy, and I'm hoping he can get a little bit of fire. Catalina says Sancho and Big Mats were the only two gentlemen to score, but I'm happy that they won the game alongside both Holland and Mukuku for our little secret Santa present. Yeah, and a big performance from Sancho. I think that's what was key for a lot of us Dortmund fans out there, is we want to see him get a little bit of form going. He's way too good of a player to be on the form that he's on. on top of the entire crazy stories linking him to United through the course of the off-season, it obviously could affect him, and it clearly is, and it's just going to take a little bit of time for him to hopefully get this thing back, but I'm hoping with this performance, as well as a decent little break, he can just come back, be a little bit more comfortable, and find that run of form. Zachary says it's nice to see Sancho on the scoring sheet, yet I would not be surprised if he moves on after this season in the summer window. Zachary, that's a whole different issue when it comes to the game, but that is a point, and I'm not going to elaborate on it right now because it's just a little much for me to try to dive into. But yeah, Sancho's future could definitely be up in the air. I have no idea what's going to happen to it. There hasn't been a lot of rumors linking him around for some time now, but with the current form he's on, and I don't know. I don't want to get into it, but yes, I was happy he got on the score sheet as well. I'm not going to touch his future because I have no idea where it lies. But for the meantime, he's a BBB player, and we're hoping that he can find his form. And we said Sancho was strong, which he was, and I was impressed. Hazard is made of wet paper, Jordan. Very true, apparently. And yes, our new young Tiggs was a good second striker to have up front, I guess, or false nine, or however you want to consider him. I thought with the little bit of height he brings, I think he is, like Harrison said, a potential in-house solution we could have for that position. So I am very happy with that. Hashtag BBB, which is subs, says we won, but I am still depressed. It's not really a takeaway, but I got bored and switched off at halftime. Yeah, I mean, if you guys watched, obviously, the game, you know that sometimes we have that recurring. It kind of looked like it happened similar in the season where we run teams over with possession, and we just can't find the finishing product, and that's kind of what it reminded me of today. I did have a little bit of flashbacks of what earlier games were in the season that we were actually winning, even though it took a while to get those goals. So yeah, I definitely take that point as well. And I do actually have a takeaway, though our medical team is a bit of a joke. Thorgan been injured every time he's come back. And I can't elaborate on that because I have no input, really. I would like to hopefully think that our medical staff knows what they're doing, but I'm going to leave that subject alone. And the last one before we dive into the comments right now on the stream for Kevin says that Marais should always start over Meunier. I have no idea why he is behind Meunier and even past Slack with Favre. Kevin, that is a decent point, and I had a lot of faith with Marais, and I'm hoping that he's able to break in. I'm hoping that he's going to get a run of form, but I wouldn't hold my breath. I honestly wouldn't. I have a feeling that Meunier is just going to be the starter. I don't know if it's what it is, if it's the coaches, if it's the board putting pressure, because the amount of money, I don't know what it is. I hope Marais can take it on, but it wouldn't surprise me if he wasn't. Personally, I really like the effort that was put in today by our debutant, Stefan Tiggs. But it became bittersweet again because, yeah, Hazard got re-injured, and that is a bummer. Yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping that it's not as bad as it could seem, but we're gonna have to obviously just keep an eye on what they're reporting back to us. But Hazard is someone that we absolutely need. When I keep linking Donny Mallon to us, people think it's just strictly for the secondary striker, but it is actually for our wingers. We don't have a ton of wingers like some people seem to think that we have, and Hazard, for me, is a natural winger. He plays great on the left-hand and right-hand side when it comes to delivering the ball with either foot, and he's definitely someone that we're going to miss. I'm praying that he's okay, but we're going to have to see. I am still not interested. This game doesn't impress me at all. And it wasn't an overly impressive game. We're against a second division team that we won 2-0 on, and yeah, but we got the job done in the end. And we've been in a bumpy road. We got to start somewhere. I know it's me just not trying to coat everything nicely, but it is what it is, and I'm very excited that we got the victory, and I'm hoping we can move on from there. Ask me how I am. I am very good. The boys won, and I'm happy with that. Being able to go live with you guys here, which is nice. I don't know how long we're going to be live for, but I'm hoping to address your guys' comments as quickly as I can. Luis says, hi, Josh. I'm on vacation. What's going on, Luis? Let me know where you are on vacation. I wish I was, but Canada just got put back in lockdown. So if you guys are in lockdown as well, let me know, because I believe we're going to be in lockdown until January 23rd. Bayern Munich is here saying Bayern Munich. Luca, who was doing the match watch-along on our Discord, says, dang, I missed the beginning. That's okay, Luca. I don't think you missed a whole lot. If you view Sancho's stats, honestly, isn't that bad. We need to stop putting the pressure on our young guns. I do take your point, but I don't take your point considering the type of performances that Sancho was putting in, night out last season. 17 goals, 16 assists on stats speaks for itself, but just in his presence on the pitch, what he was able to do, it's honestly hard to figure out exactly what's going wrong with him. A lot of people are linking it back to Hakimi being gone, and yeah, I don't know. It's exciting. I want to focus on the positive parts, and the positive parts is that Sancho got a goal and assist today, played relatively well, and we're moving on to the next round. Lucas says, I sent the takeaways in the Discord. Luca, if I have time, I will dive into those because you did a nice job replicating JJD TV on our Discord. What a horrible performance, jeez. And I've seen a lot of mixed performance reviews so far. A lot of people were impressed with the victory. Yes, it's a second division team. Potentially the 3, 4, 5-0 score lines are a little more appealing. But for the most part, I was relatively happy with it. The number one thing was getting the victory. And for me, the number one thing was getting Sancho a bit of form, and he finally was able to break that duck of his when it came to the goals. Ryan says, I couldn't watch the game. How did Brandt play? I mean, I didn't mind how Brandt played. I thought he played pretty decently. He played in his more natural position, but he wasn't overly impressive. For me, the star player was Sancho. What's happening to Renier? I'm not sure what's happening to Renier. I told you guys a few times on the channel that it wouldn't surprise me if he went back to Real Madrid, mainly because he's not getting the minutes he desperately needs. He's on a 2-year loan deal. I don't see them investing in him just to lose him, kind of like Hakimi. Hakimi was different because he was a wild player when it came to playing as our left back to our right wing back, and he was very deadly for us. So I just can't see us putting a lot of investment in Renier just to send him back to Madrid, which is weird. I don't get why we taken him. But yeah, if you guys have any input on Renier, I mean, definitely let me know in the chat. Just for me, I just can't see us giving him a lot of time, knowing that we have players coming up like Gio, for example, who could give those minutes to. He's on a long-term deal. It just makes a lot more sense for me. Luka was impressed with Brandt and Sancho. I was definitely more impressed with Sancho, but I didn't think Brandt had a bad outing by any means. BBB need to start offer player 5-year contracts instead of offering them 3-year contracts. I'm not sure exactly what situation you're referring to. If you want to elaborate on that a little bit. We are relatively decent with offering more long-term contracts on players, which is why we obviously were able to tie down Gio as well. Mounier, for example, is on a 4-year deal. So if you want to elaborate a little bit more on that, I can definitely let you know my opinions. Injury runs in the Hazard family. Apparently. I don't know what it is with them this season, but I mean, you guys know I'm a big fan of both Hazard brothers, but I mean, Eden's had quite a bit of time to adapt to Madrid. Injuries have definitely been a big part of that. I really thought this was going to be a season for Thorgan to really just thrive. I honestly did, and these injuries, like you said, they're just killing. They're just being able to come into the team, get comfortable, play week in, week out, and just build on that. And when you get injuries like this, it's hard to, as a player. I mean, I'm a player, even as myself, which isn't like a professional, but I've had my fair share of injuries, and it's a killer. So I pray that he's okay and we'll be back soon, but we'll just have to wait and see. Brandt was average in my opinion. I hope he's come back to good form after the break. That's kind of how I felt like him. I mean, he didn't impress me. He didn't make me think, holy, get him off the pitch. I don't fully know what to think about Brandt at this opinion, but I thought he did a job today. Hola, hello, from Crow. Well, hello, my friend. Welcome to the channel. I'm not sure if you are new here. If you are, let me know where you are, watching from, because I don't recognize your name, but you may have changed it. I'm not sure. Ryan says, was he in position or was he higher up the pitch? I'm not sure exactly who you're referring to. If you're referring to Brandt, the way I saw him play was in position. I saw it more as a 4-2-3-1. I know in a lot of the other apps it showed it as a 4-3-3, which is just not really how I saw it. But you guys can let me know. I believe, in my opinion, that Brandt was playing in his most comfortable position. And again, wasn't bad, but didn't overly impress me. Simon agrees with me and says Brandt was playing as a cam. BBB always buys a player in January, but just don't know which player is going to be this time. I have a nice video coming out. I'm not sure if we're going to drop it tomorrow or the next day, but it's going to be transfers, targets, episodes. So I'm excited for you guys to see that because I have 2 names for me that are sticking out on different reasons. So I'm excited for you guys to watch that episode and let me know what you think. But I can definitely let you know who I think that we may target in the upcoming window. Need to play pressing, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a fair point, but it's hard when you play some other clubs that you're not very familiar with when it comes to the different play styles. We should have a lot more of the ball. I mean, I didn't think the pressing was too much of an issue with us. I thought it took a little bit for us to really start getting into the game and starting those chances off, which is a recurring incident when it comes to BVB this season. But, I mean, running a high press and pressing is obviously an important role of the game. And, I mean, I would never be against being a high-pressing team, but we'll have to see what Edin Terzic wants to do. Too many times, Sancho, Brandt, and Reina are on the edge of the box waiting for the runner, and most of the time it's Guerrero coming from the left to a cross at our 5-foot attackers. That is a decent point, and it kind of went back to one of the other points that we had without Haaland. We're missing that focal point, and I think it's really affecting our playmakers. I honestly do, because I think a lot of them are very hesitant to release that killer ball just because they're not exactly sure who's going to get onto it. Guerrero's always very good at getting up in the attack and whipping in those balls, but without our big man in Erling Haaland, I do take your point, but I was still, again, I mean, it's a work in progress. I'm excited to see that Wolfsburg game. I think it's going to get a real indication of where Edin Terzic wants to go with this club and what they want to do, and I'm praying that Haaland can come back because I think that's going to be very important for our top 4 hopes. No width at all, by the way. I did notice that a little bit. I thought Sancho was trying to cut in a little bit more just because, I mean, he likes having the ball. As wingers know, when you play out on the wide, yes, you are able to cut in from time to time, but you don't get those little 1-2 touches as much as you do. So I saw Jadon come in a little bit more, but, I mean, the width wasn't, to me, the biggest thing. And you also mentioned that Brandt just missed a sitter mate. Yeah, Brandt's future for me is going to be an interesting one to see what happens to him because this game right here was a good option for him to impress a lot of us. I think a lot of us were hoping for Julian Brandt to recapture that form, but in my opinion, it was just like a couple of you guys mentioned, a pretty bang average game. I mean, I'm not saying he did a whole lot wrong, but I don't think he did a whole lot that was spectacular to get in front of the likes of Gio Reyna and Marco Royce. Alex says, we're underwhelming for sure. Wish we could just pick up a villain winner mentality. Yeah, and that is a fair point. It's kind of frustrating playing a team that you know that we have just a lot more talent and that we should be running away with these games and not really killing it off till pretty much the last 10 minutes. It can definitely be a little disheartening, but I mean, you got to look at it in a couple different ways, and for me, it's just trying to get back into the game, trying to get back into rhythm, and trying to see where we can go from here after these honestly pretty awful results that we've been having. And you got to take it with a point here that Luke is obviously going on is if we had a striker, it would have easily been a 5-0 game, and everyone would have been saying how good we are. Our ball distribution was awesome. Our finishing was bad. We had a good game. Luca, that is a lot of points in there, and those are a lot of good ones. It could have been 5-0. It absolutely could have been 5-0. There's been a lot of games we played this season where we could have had the game done, set, match in the first minutes, and we miss a lot of chances. And obviously having Haaland out of the team is in my opinion, is our killer instinct that we're missing. But when it comes to our ball distribution, I don't believe it was honestly awesome. I thought it was better, but I just still think without Haaland in the team, it's definitely affecting our playmakers. I think that they're just hesitant a little bit. They don't really trust. When you have someone like Erling Haaland up front, you can trust him to get on the balls, to get in the box. He's hungry. But when you have someone who not fully know what they're going to do, it can definitely have an effect on the way you want to put a ball in the box or runs that you have to make. But I was relatively impressed, Luca, and those are all decent points. The finishing was pretty poor, but I was overall impressed with the game. I was never at a point overly nervous, even from the off. And yeah, I mean, I was pretty happy. Would you sell Sancho in January and get Malen and Sarr? I'm assuming you're referring to Malang Sarr, and I mean, I would take Malang Sarr in a heartbeat, but he is on a contract with Porto right now on loan. I don't see him breaking that, but I could be wrong. Let me know if you guys heard anything. I don't think he's getting a ton of minutes actually at Porto, so maybe that's a rumor, but I know that he did have a couple of good performances in the last few weeks and got himself a goal. But no, I would not sell Sancho in the January transfer window, because why would you want to sell him when he's arguably at his worst form in his entire career? I would give him the rest of the season, see what he can do, hopefully recover even a fraction of the form that we know that he can have, and then make your decision in the off. Donny Malen, again, will be mentioned in our transfer window prediction type episode coming up, because I rate Donny Malen. I desperately hope he comes to this team. But, you know, I wouldn't bring him in now to get rid of Sancho. Lucas says, that's a nice shirt, Josh. Where have you been? Well, I do have a day job, ladies and gentlemen. So that is honestly where I have been, and I'm trying to look nice for you guys. But I wanted to get back on and obviously chat with you guys because it was a game that I was relatively happy with, and I desperately wanted to do the watch along with you, but wasn't able to swing it through the entire game, which led to our community takeaways. So let me know what you guys like, if you guys like the community takeaways, because I mean, even when I do the watch along, I can do these community takeaways after if you want, but you already gotta sit there and listen to me talk for a couple hours. I don't know how much you want to do it afterwards, so you guys can let me know. There is a Discord, of course, you can join. Luca is kind of dominating that right now. And Romeo says, honestly, I don't think that the title race is over for us. I think we just need a very long winning streak. You guys know that I'm Canadian. You guys know that I'm positive. I can promise you almost that our title race is over. There's no way we're going to catch up unless Bayern fall off a cliff. But I still think that there's a lot to play for. I mean, we have the Champions League, we have the DFB Pokal, and we have a top 4 finish that we absolutely have to finish in. So there's still a lot to play for this season. I'm not holding my breath on making a miraculous type Bundesliga recovery, but I still am excited to do the watch-alongs through the rest of, honestly, the season with you guys. I will be back for the next watch-along for the Wolfsburg game. Don't you guys worry. We'll definitely be doing that one, and I'm looking forward for that one as well. Simon says, what's your perfect lineup for BBB? Pretending everyone is healthy and the players are at their best. I love these kind of questions. Let me know what you guys think with this, because I'm pretty sure I could probably just whip it up right now without even having to think about it. Because for me, my perfect formation would be the 4-2-3-1, Berkey in goal, Mariah at a right back, Akanji, Hummels, Guerrero. I don't even want to... I lied, because I would have said, you guys know me enough to know I would say probably Delaney and Dahoud, but why do I even want to bother saying those names when I know it's not going to happen? So I'll alter it a little bit because I want to be realistic. I'll give you 2 ways. Delaney, Dahoud, because that's my preference. You guys know that. It's not going to happen, so I'd say probably Delaney and Bellingham. And then up front would be Royce as our cam, Sancho on the right, Hazard on the left, and then Haaland up front. I mean, that leaves Gio out. It's hard to try to want to put him in, but I mean, I'm not going to put him as his most comfortable position because Royce is there. And I'd actually probably have Sancho on the left, Hazard on the right. They're very interchangeable as well. But let me know what you guys think about that. That's probably my best starting 11 right now. And minus Dahoud because I don't honestly know what's going on there. I mean, he may... well, leave in the January transfer window. I don't know, but he definitely seems to be the odd man out. I see this game as a pure win. Luca, and that's a good way to look at it. I mean, I'm relatively happy. It would have been a real, honestly, kick to the gut if we would have lost this game. 100% it would have been. I would have been going into the new year with a lot different feelings if we would have dropped that. I love having a cup run. I'm praying that we have a deep one this season. Give us something to really play for. Give us a chance at some silverware. So I'm in a relatively good mood, and I see the game as a pure win as well. GG Anderson says, what do you think about Delaney's performance? I'm happy with it. I mean, it's always tough coming back from injury. I in my predicted starting 11, I did put Delaney there. For some reason, whether it's Favre or Terzic, they have a tendency to put in players who come back from a knock right in. Hummels and Guerrero are 2 perfect examples of it. And you can't expect them to be on tip-top shape, but I thought Delaney did a relatively good job. I thought he looked energetic. He brings a little something different. I think he's more of that number 6, which gives Bellingham and it could be Dahoud and whoever's honestly playing beside him an opportunity to be a little bit more attacking, which is something I think that gives us a little bit of balance in the 4-2-3-1. Lucas says Delaney was good. He just did not have a lot of job to do today. And it's fair, but I mean, from what I saw, I was impressed with what we saw. Union Berlin have more goals than Dortmund. What is the identity of this team? No defense, no offense. That is an excellent point. Union Berlin is having a freak of a season, don't get me wrong, but I mean, Edin Terzic for the rest of the season already stated that he's going all out attack. He's not focusing on our defense, so it's going to be pretty interesting to see if he's able to turn it around and bring something more. I think when Haaland comes back, that's going to rejuvenate the team 100%, and hopefully Mukuku can find a little bit of form as well, because I think they're going to be a little bit more careful with Haaland, knowing that it's the COVID-packed season, knowing he's going to have a lot of minutes under him, and I mean, the legs will get tired. And I don't want to see him go through what he had to go through because that is why he got the injury. So having Mukuku come in, getting his goal, getting a little bit of confidence, it'll be nice to rotate the 2 out. Shadow says, I think Dortmund should play the 4-3-3 false 9 and put Marco Royce as center forward. The left and right wingers can cut inside like Liverpool. Shadow, that is honestly a good, sort of a good idea. I was debating whether to switch formations because the only 2 formations I've really mentioned here on the channel is a 3-4-3 because we played it a lot last season. We can play with wingbacks, or the 4-2-3-1 because that is honestly, in my opinion, the Dortmund DNA, and it was Favre's, in my opinion, again, most preferred formation, and apparently Terzic as well, because he's going off of what Jurgen Klopp and Tuchel and others have done around him. But I do like playing in a 4-3-3. I think it offers a little bit different. And your example is sort of similar to the way Napoli plays. With Dries Mertens, the season he had 28 goals, was a false 9. It allowed Insigne, it allowed Callahan to cut in beside him, and he honestly was a good link-up play. I believe Royce could play that, but Royce has failed to have the killer instinct that, for example, Dries Mertens did. Dries Mertens went from a winger / center attacking mid to a false 9 and put up 28 goals. Having players like Insigne and Callahan beside you make for a lethal attack. Royce, I'm not convinced can put up those kind of numbers, which is why I don't see us moving to a 4-3-3, because then it would also kick out, for example, Gio Reyna or even Brandt. It gives those players really no opportunity to get into the starting 11, and I just feel like the 4-2-3-1 is a little bit more balanced. Saying that, I would not rule it out, because, I mean, having more versatility, being able to find different ways to set up is definitely a positive thing, and it could, who knows, Marco Royce could turn up and much more rather play in a 4-3-3 false 9 formation. So it's not a bad idea, and like you mentioned, it could be like a Liverpool, he could play like a Bobby Firmino, or he could play like a Dries Mertens. I think the players still play under Favre's system, which is boring and ineffective. I hope Terzic can transform the team in this next 10 days to play fast, attractive team. That is an excellent point, and that's what I was alluding to at the beginning of the game, where the game at so many points could have been over, and we weren't having to worry until pretty much the last 5 minutes of the game where we were able to get that second goal, and we're lacking a killer instinct. We're playing with the ball a little too much, and in my opinion, this is the third time I've said it now on stream. I just feel like missing that presence up front is really affecting our playmakers, and it's affecting the balls that are coming into the box. And it's going to take a lot. I mean, Terzic is very, very new in this obviously managerial opportunity as well, but also with the team. And I think the next 10 days should give him an opportunity to try to change it. I saw something drastically different when he did his first game, but now I'm starting to see them revert back to a little bit of the way that Favre played. So I definitely take your point, and I'm hoping it's something Terzic can address as well. Yes, but I think that he has to play better than Chan and Witsel this season. I'm not very sure, Gigi, who you're referring to, yes, but I think he has played better than Chan and Witsel this season. I don't know if you're referring to Dahoud or whoever, but yeah, I don't think Witsel or Chan have had very strong seasons, in my opinion. I think Witsel's starting to turn up a little bit more, but I think Chan's kind of been all over the place. Which Sarr? I'm assuming he was referring to Malang Sarr, who is the young French center back on loan at Porto from Chelsea. Dortmund have the highest stats in the Bundesliga in both shots and passing. It is just our finishing is poor. You can also view the stats, though. Yep, 100%. We've seen that many times this season, where we are just dominating games in possession. A lot of the ways that I was describing the games is that we kill the teams in the first half. If you guys remember that streak we went, I can't remember exactly what it was, and maybe 4 or 5 games where we didn't score in the first half, but we had 65% of the ball. We wore those teams down, and we were able to get a second half goal. That kind of seemed like the type of strategy that we were doing. But a lot of that, like you mentioned, came down to just poor finishing. And doing that type of method can bite you in the butt, because teams can definitely hit you on the counter. And we've seen that in times this season where we've lost important games. So I don't know exactly what it's going to take to be able to get the killer instinct. I'm hoping it's when Haaland comes back. Maybe Mukuku lights up a little bit. Or maybe it's even a switch to the 4-3-3, for example. But more than likely, we're going to have to wait till Haaland comes back. Hopefully, Jadon Sancho gets on a little bit of form here, and we can turn these results around. All right, where were we on our next comment? On the positive, we did press to the 30th minute, which is an improvement, given that we usually press for about 15. Yep, that's a fair point. I did notice that, and I think someone also mentioned it in the chat as well, that the pressing was relatively good. I mean, pressing until the 30th minute, it's hard. Pressing is obviously a lot of work. You have a young striker up front. I didn't know exactly what Terzic wanted him to exactly do, but I thought I did a decent job, and I was impressed with that, and I was impressed with the way he pressed as well. Guys, like and share the video, and also subscribe to this amazing channel. Bayern fan here. Well, thank you, my friend. You are always so supportive when it comes to the channel. I know that you're a big fan of Bayern Now's channel. And yeah, guys, we've been growing, obviously, very well. So, I mean, if you are new around here, definitely be sure to comment, like, and subscribe. We're 1.37 or something K like that, and we're hoping to get a lot of fun content for you guys out in the next couple weeks, because we have some time off. We can obviously hopefully address some transfers and get some FIFA content in. So if you have any idea, feel free to inbox me on Twitter, Instagram, or even join the Discord and let us know there, because we're hoping to get on stream with you guys a little bit, because that's honestly my favorite part. Oh, You were talking about the Watford boy. Oh, I don't know what to think about that. I don't personally think that we need another winger, and if we do, he needs to be Donny Mullen. That is just how I feel it. I think there's some other areas that we need to address. The number one reason, like I said, with Donny Mullen is that he can play on the wings, he can play through the middle. He's relatively cheap. He's got the experience at the international level. He's a proven goal scorer. I like Sarr. I think he's quick, but the fact that he will cost a lot more with that Premier League tax, I just don't see it as a viable option, especially because the wing, like he's a pure winger, where I think our biggest issues could potentially come for the backup center forward or the center back, mainly the center back positions, and I don't think we're going to be dropping that kind of money on Sarr. The second member of the Delaney fan club. Not Malang Sarr. I would have took Malang Sarr in a heartbeat. I definitely would have. I think he's a talented young player, and he would have fit the system as well. Bayern are not as good as last season, so I believe we can surprise everyone, but is highly unlikely. I do agree that Bayern are not as good as last season. Leroy Sané did not hit the floor running, and he just got brutally embarrassed by getting subbed on and then getting subbed off. So there are definitely some issues going on at Bayern Munich right now. I just think that there's too big of a gap right now for us to be able to recover it, especially given the form that we're on. But you never know. It's a beautiful thing about football. Would you be surprised if we stick with the 4-3-3 for the rest of the season? I didn't see that set up as a 4-3-3. You guys can obviously let me know how you saw it. I saw it as a 4-2-3-1. Brandt playing obviously as the cam. It's just, I know that it's set up on a couple of the apps like a 4-3-3, but I personally didn't think it played like that. I thought Brandt was definitely a lot more attacking. But you guys can definitely let me know what you think. Everyone's got their different perspectives. But no, I don't believe we'll be sticking with the 4-3-3. I think 4-2-3-1 will be Terzic's formation this season. Bellingham shouldn't have started. We are using him too much. Trust me, he will get injured. Excellent point. I agree. I thought Dahoud. I always think Dahoud. You guys make fun of me for every single time talking about Dahoud because that's who I assumed was going to start. I thought it was a perfect game for him, but he's clearly got something going on there. And yeah, I don't think we should be using Bellingham too much, but hopefully with having a couple weeks off, he will avoid the injury train. Bayern are weak because of their defense. I agree with that. I think that Leroy Sané not adapting to Bayern right now is a bit of an issue, but you have the likes of Coleman who can step up when needed, Muller, Gnabry, and of course Lewandowski, so your attack will always be a threat. It is the defense, especially in that right back position. For me, it doesn't matter who plays it from time to time, it's just not a right back that Bayern need. Lucas says, not related to the game, but damn, we miss the fans. Yes, Luca, we do, 100%. I want to go back to Germany so badly and do a match vlog for you guys. Bring producer T there and just be able to relive that moment. I did go to the game back in 2018, and I mean, I miss it so much. So yes, especially knowing how amazing the Westfalen is, I would love to see fans get back in there. But considering that Canada's going back into lockdown for a month, I'm not going to hold my breath as to when fans will be returning. Sancho did way better today. He's getting his old form back. He did, but that's the thing. Like, he had a better game, but I'm trying not to get too excited away considering it was a second division club and that he did have a couple times where he obviously lost the ball, but at least he's trying. So the more you try, the more you gain confidence, and he got the goal and assist, which I think was big for him. So I definitely do think he's on track to being able to recover some of that form. But for me, last season, Sancho was unplayable, and he's not quite there yet. Would you like to see us return to a 3 at the back? If I didn't like it, but it was more solid and consistent. Excellent question. For me, no, right now, because we don't have the numbers as center backs. That would mean playing Emre Can there, and in my opinion, I don't like Emre Can playing as an outside center back. I think he's too unreliable. I think he should probably play in the midfield, which then leaves, obviously, pretty much just Akanji, Zagadou, Hummels. You could throw Piece Check there, but I just don't think we have the numbers right now for a 3 at the back formation. And I don't like the way, honestly, it plays. I think it really affects the way that we are going forward. But I do think we're a little bit more consistent defensively, which makes sense when you play 3 at the back. So I would stay away from it, but introduce it from time to time. I like being able to play a little versatile and shaking things up if it requires a switch in formation. But for me, the 4-2-3-1 is the way to go. I think that we can expect Terzic to play a completely different style of football because he worked over 2 years with Fabre. Yeah, and that's a fair point. But he's got experience playing or being with Klopp, being with Tuchel, being with Slaven Bilic, but of course being with Fabre. It will take some time. Considering that he was with Fabre as well as the team is used to the way Fabre playing, I think it will take a little bit of time. But I don't think you guys can disagree. In Teresic's first game, we definitely saw a change. Something was different. We were a lot more attacking. We were also a lot more open at the back. So I just think it's going to take him a little bit of time to find his balance. And I'm excited to see that Wolfsburg game because I think it's going to be a real indication after he's got a good amount of time right now to work with the boys. Lucas says, what time is it in Canada? It is 5:38 p.m. right now. And yeah, I mean, Luca, if you want to let me know what time it is. I believe a lot of you guys could be from Europe, which I believe makes it very late there. Simon says, ever thought of doing a meetup with your Canadian subs after the lockdown? I've had a few people reach out to me and say that it'd be pretty cool to do that. And honestly, yeah, I have. I have two definitely subscriber meet and greets, I guess. One would be if we're ever able to go back to Dortmund and go to a game. I would obviously let you guys know that we're doing that. I would even let you know where I bought my ticket, and hopefully we can get you guys going. We can go to a couple of the bars that I went to before the last time I was there. You can meet me and Producer T and hopefully just get a bunch of pictures and have a lot of fun time. But for you Canadian subs that are anywhere near Waterloo, we have a Canadian BVB group on Facebook. There is a pub that is known to host us for the games. So if anything, I would probably go there. I would tell you guys about that if you're close, and then maybe do something like that. Maybe even do a match watch along or something like there. I think that would be pretty cool. And I would obviously talk to a few of the people who run that group as well to make sure that they're okay with it. But I think they relatively would be. They've been very supportive on the channel, but it's going to, like I said, take some time because I don't know when we're going to be allowed to do something like that because Canada is in strict lockdown. I'm guessing we'll get second place in the second half. I hope Haaland doesn't lose his amazing form. Excellent point. I don't honestly think that Haaland's going to lose his form. I think he's just too good of a player. I think he's too hungry to get back, and I could be wrong, though. Injuries are one of the worst things for a footballer, especially long-term injuries, but I have faith that Haaland's going to come back hitting the floor running, and I hope that we can get that kind of points back. It's going to, honestly, in my opinion, depend how inconsistent Leverkusen and Leipzig is, because I've been very impressed with their first 13 games. I think that Leverkusen's a little bit more inconsistent just because Leipzig is, I think, honestly managed by a better manager, which I think will lead to a little bit more consistency, but they lack a striker, which I think could bite them in the butt later in the season. So I wouldn't say second place is out of reach, but for me, I just want to desperately finish in the top four and have a couple deep cup matches. Yeah, they concede every game and somehow get lucky. It won't happen every time. It's what you got to hope for, my friends. It's what you got to hope for. What do you reckon is a target for us this year? Top four, 100%. When there's a sacking of a manager, for me, you just need to finish in the top four. We saw that the last time when Peter Bosz got sacked. Peter Stoger had to come in, and all we cared about was getting top four, and we just slid into that, which then put the next manager in an excellent position because of the money that the Champions League brings, and he could actually do what he wanted. So, I mean, the way I'm telling you guys right now, the way I probably see it shaking down is that we go and get that top four finish, hopefully have some type of cup run. If we win one of those cups, it could change what's probably the inevitable. But for me, the inevitable is seeing Marco Rose in charge of Dortmund next season and being able to play Champions League football, which I don't really have an opinion on yet. I don't think Rose is exactly what we need to turn this club around, but it seems like the most likely option. Dahoud needs to play. I don't know why isn't getting minutes. I have no idea. Luca likes to laugh at me while I talk about Dahoud because I mention him each and every game because I'm just so shocked. I honestly wrote him off. I thought he would have been potentially sold this upcoming season, and instead he, in my opinion, was one of our most consistent players and just now can't even make the bench. I'm completely confused. I don't know what it means. If he's going to get sold in January, if there's a knock we don't know about, I honestly don't know, but it is definitely confusing for me. As soon as we solve our finishing, we will be very dangerous in the Champions League. The Champions League is something I'm very excited for because Haaland will be back. I think that it's an unpredictable competition. We've seen the likes of Atalanta, RB Leipzig, PSG, yes, they're a big club as well, but they've been awful in the Champions League. This competition is so unpredictable where we can do. So I would not rule us out in that, and I would not rule us out in the DFB Pokal as well. I think those are two realistic competitions that we can go deep in, and I hope that, I think finishing, like you mentioned, will be a big part of that. Dahoud didn't even travel with the squad. I think he's injured, as always. I didn't see any, let me know if you guys did. I didn't see any articles that referred to him as being injured, which makes me just so nervous that, he's just not fit. We do have a lot of players in the midfield. We have Thomas Delaney, we have Bellingham, we have Chan, who can, I guess, slide back as a outside center back, but naturally he's a center defensive midfielder. Then we have obviously Dahoud and Witsel, which is 5 center defensive midfielders, which obviously means that definitely one is left out, because you can usually rotate the 4, and that's the more normal one to have if you play in a 4-2-3-1. But yeah, I can't explain it. I hope, which sounds bad, but I hope it's an injury that kept him out, because if not, then I think Dahoud's future at the club is really uncertain. Terzic, I think, is the third coach that does not trust Dahoud. I think there's a reason why. And I don't know. I don't see Dahoud train each and every day, so, I mean, that could very well be true. I don't know, but from what I've seen when he plays, I think that he's an asset to this club. Would you be surprised if we reached the UEFA Champions League final, Josh? Yes and no. I mean, it's a dream to reach the finals, but I do think the Champions League has been very unpredictable in the last few seasons, so if we get the right draw and we get a run of form, it wouldn't surprise me, but I mean, it would definitely impress me. Chan should start. I would like to see Chan go into that center defensive mid. I don't know who to partner him with. Ideally, I guess probably Bellingham. I think they are 2 different kind of center defensive mids that could complement each other, but I'd be interested to see what it would be like having those guys start there. We have a big problem in our offense. Everybody is so young, and there is no veteran leader with experience that tells them, a young 17-year-old, when we're holding a lead with 15 minutes. I mean, we do have Marco Royce, which is obviously a club legend and also a vet, but I mean, I do take your point, because we do have a lot of young players up front, in the likes of, at one point we had a 16-year-old leading the line in Mukuku. We have Reyna, who's 18. Sancho's only 20. So, I mean, I definitely take your point there, but it's the way Dortmund do business, so it is what it is. It's kind of how we play, and we're gotta hope that some of these guys can just turn into world-class players. We signed Gio down to a long-term deal, which I think is an excellent start. And we also have an out-of-form Sancho. So Sancho, in my opinion, plays like a 25-year-old in his prime. Not this season, but I think he's got the potential to do that. But yeah, being a leader is definitely something that you want to take into consideration when having your front 4. And for me, that's why Royce is the most important player who is playing as a center attacking mid. But I have heard some rumors that he is not the loudest on the pitch, which, I mean, Royce brings a different type of attributes. So yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see the way that the leader is able to come up. I think Haaland could potentially be that. Yes, he's 20, but I mean, the kid is a baller. He's angry. You see his emotion, and I think that's a good part of being a leader, in my opinion. Make Hummels the striker, 3 goals for the team. WTF? Yes, Mats Hummels apparently has just a wicked goal scoring record, and a nice finish today, by the way. It's 4:08 in the morning here in India. Our Indian subscribers, my friend. I mean, you guys are crazy, but you gotta love you. Yes, Hummels definitely could be the third striker. The 3-4-3 does rely heavily on wingbacks, and I don't think that it works with the dead man on the right, Meunier. And that's why I thought Mirai could potentially take that right wingback spot into his own. He hasn't really done that, but potentially if we try it again and have Guerrero, who plays in his most comfortable left wingback position, maybe Mirai does turn that right wingback position to kind of his own. Could be a little bit of positive news for the boys, but yeah, I mean, Meunier should never, in my opinion, play right wing back again. I think he's been dreadful each and every time he does. If you ever come to Egypt, I would love to meet you. If ever come to Egypt, I mean, traveling is definitely was a big part of my life before lockdown. I haven't thought about going to Egypt, but potentially, if I did, I will definitely let you guys know. I mean, I do travel quite a bit. It just, obviously with COVID, you guys haven't seen that. I've been at home. So when things hopefully get back to normal, some of these potential meet and greets and seeing you guys could potentially be on the cards. Marco Royce sent some hearts and some heart eyes. Marco Royce, 11, you beautiful guy. Honestly, Leverkusen is stronger than Leipzig, to be honest. And again, I think they have played better, but I just think that Nagelsmann is a better manager, and I think he'll make the right decisions later on in the season when it matters, which could lead to Leverkusen dropping points. But Leverkusen has impressed me, honestly, probably the most this season. Losing Kai Havertz and losing Kevin Volland should have really just, honestly, hurt that team. Hurt that team's top 4 chances by a lot. But it hasn't. And arguably, they should be top of the table right now. They did it to themselves in dropping those points to Bayern. But yeah, I mean, I take your point. It's that Nagelsmann factor, the reason why I think Leipzig could potentially go on more of a title challenge. Do you think we need a new right back? Not been impressed at all with Meunier. Yes, we absolutely need a new right back, but realistically, we will not address it because he's on a long-term deal with big wages. Plus, we have Paslak and Mirai. So in my opinion, we're not going to touch that right back position, even though we desperately need one. Do you think Royce is the right captain for us? A lot of people think Hummels should be captain. That is a very touchy subject with me personally, just because I'm a huge Marco Royce fan. I'm not in the dressing room, though. I don't know what it's like. I mean, for my opinion, a lot of times you see center backs as captains because they have the Mats Hummels attributes where it comes to being able to organize from the back, be very vocal. I heard Marco Royce isn't the most vocal, but sometimes each team's different. Sometimes that's not what you exactly need to be a leader. You got to pick your moments to score a big goal, lead up to a big play. It's a total perspective, opinion. So, I mean, I think Royce is the right man for the job because he just has a city behind him. He's got the players behind him. And, I mean, he's got a great relationship with Hummels as well. So when, for example, Royce didn't start today, you know you have Hummels there as well. So I think it's a nice little duo between the two. And I don't know. It's a touchy subject just because I have so much love for Marco Royce. I really don't rate Witsel, man. When he's been on form, he's our best midfielder. Or I don't really rate Witsel. No, and that's a fair point. One of the big reasons I think that I'm a little off with Witsel is because, A, he's coming to the end of his career. I think that he completely transformed that midfield when he joined the team, and I have so much love for Witsel. I hope you guys do know that because I honestly do. I think when he came in and played alongside Delaney in that 18-19 season, he was sensational. I still think he does do a job there. Just you start to see the legs go a little bit on him, but he has impressed me in recent weeks. I will definitely give you that. I don't think he had the best start to the season, but I feel like he is finding his legs. But it's also hard when a player isn't always put in the starting 11 anymore to kind of find that rhythm again. And I'm hoping Witsel can because, I mean, when he's on his top form, he, in my opinion, is the best center defensive midfielder we have. And I just don't know if he's able to replicate that form. But you guys can definitely let me know what you guys' thoughts on Witsel is. I love him, but I just don't think that he's going to be a regular starter for us. Maybe a hot take, but Haaland could be the captain when he plays. Ooh, that is a hot take, Luca. That is a hot take. And like I said before I read this, he's got that personality where he's a leader, but I don't think he'll ever have the captain armband over Hummels or Royce. But potentially down the line in a few years, if he stays, he could definitely be a shot at captain. Hey. He gave a little bit of love. You guys had an excellent game today. For a second division club being able to come in and have a decent effort against us, I give you guys a round of applause. It's cool to see one of the supporters find our little watch along / takeaways video. I wish I could have done the watch along so we could have met a little bit more of you guys, but much respect, and I hope you guys enjoyed the game and wish you guys the best of luck for the remainder of the Bundesliga 2 season. What do you think about Witsel? It looks like you don't like him very much. So yeah, so I do like Witsel. I love Witsel. He was one of my favorite players for the last few seasons. I just don't think he's quite what he was at the club, obviously with age and whatnot, and I just didn't think he kind of fit the way that the team was playing, but I rate Witsel. I'll always have a soft spot in Witsel for coming back from China, which made me so happy because I thought he was going to waste away for the rest of his career there, and he wanted to come to Dortmund, and he's a leader. He's another person I like seeing the armband on. And if he finds form this season, 100%, I think he should be one of the first people on the team sheet. He hasn't been overly convincing to me. But like I said, the last few times I've seen him on the pitch, he's done a job, and I've been very, very happy with it. Meunier is the worst player we have by far. What do you think BBB should do with him? Touchy subject again, because it doesn't matter what I think. I think with the long-term contract and the wages, he's going to be impossible to ship. So I don't see him going anywhere. I think we're stuck with him, and I think we're just going to have to hope the supporters don't look at that right-back position because we're going to be looking at Meunier. Come to Alberta, BBB for life. Alberta, I have a few buddies who live out in Alberta, actually, so, you know, potentially if I go visit them, I'll definitely let you guys know, but yeah, Alberta's a pretty cool place. I'm assuming maybe you play some hockey out there. That's where I see a lot of my buddies doing when they're out there. We would take Meunier, to be quite frankly. Take him. I don't think you're going to have any argument over here. Royce for life. Oh, captain, my captain. Yeah, 100% sure. Do you rate Terzic? I mean, for the only few amount of games he's been in charge, I'm not overly convinced that he's going to be the game changer we need, the next Jurgen Klopp, but I think he's a charismatic manager, which is something that we need. I just think he's very young, and the rest of the season is going to really give me more of an idea of what I think of him, and if he's ready to take a job like this, or if he should test the waters elsewhere. What do you think is the best position for Royce and Brandt? Both, in my opinion, is the center attacking mid in a 4-2-3-1, which is the reason that Brandt will be struggling with game time while he is still a BBB member. And I think his future could be definitely one up in the air because you need to play. You need to play, and he's, in my opinion, regressed since he came from Leverkusen, and it's because he just can't have the minutes that he needs to grow, and he's not playing in the position he likes. We see him play a lot as a false nine. He's awful at it. We see him play it on the wings from time to time. Better than a false nine, but again, just not what we need. And I think the best football I've seen him play with Dortmund has been through the middle. But I just think with Gio coming up and Royce, who's a club legend, it's just hard to justify putting Brandt in. Hummels definitely should be the captain. I would love to see him scream from the back at the rest of our team. I mean, Luka, that's a decent point, but just because you don't have the armband on, I mean, if doesn't mean that you can't be a vocal person on the pitch. I played on many teams, and this is from personal opinion. I never played at the top levels, but everyone should be accountable. Everyone should be. It's a talking sport. You don't realize until you're on that pitch how much people do talk when it comes to this game. And I know Hummels screams from the back, whether he's wearing that armband or not. I just think Royce has got, like I said, the city behind him. He's got the board behind him, and he, in my opinion, he's our captain, and I wouldn't want it any other way. But when he doesn't start games, for me, Hummels is the next best thing and is a natural and fantastic captain as well. So I'm comfortable with either one of them wearing it. Neuer and Lewandowski, they win Bayern games even when they aren't playing well. We just have to hope that they get injured and we may have a chance. Lewandowski and Haaland, exact same story. We played a lot of awful games this season that we won strictly because of the intensity of Erling Haaland and honestly the pure finishing ability. So yeah, that Leverkusen game, I wasn't convinced that Bayern were the better team, but they got a player like Lewandowski who can make a difference. Even the game that Bayern played against us with that ridiculous header that Lewandowski scored, which he's been a pain in our butts ever since he left. Yep, indeed. The two teams tend to have quite a good relationship. Well, that's beautiful. You have an unbelievably good logo as well. I'm very impressed with that. I like your guys' team colors. And I was excited that you guys are obviously hopefully going to avoid relegation this season. I think you guys have a good enough squad in the second division to do that. But, I mean, it's in my opinion, the second division has been all over the place. You've seen even Nuremberg as far down as the relegation zones. Now they're popped back up to the top half of the table. So, I mean, I was impressed with the way you guys did today, and I think if you're able to go with a little bit of momentum going forward, you should have no problem staying up. When Sancho leaves in the summer, Messi is free. What do you think? He will be a good replacement. Yes, Messi would be an unbelievable replacement, but he will not be coming to Dortmund. Let's be real. But good luck, Borussia. Cheers from Germany. Cheers, my friend. I hope you enjoyed our little channel here, and if you want to obviously jump on in the future, more than welcome to, and I will just cheer on you guys when you play in the Bundesliga too. Brandt is also a good CM, but he has defensive issues. The only center midfielder position I like to see Brandt play is when we play in the 3-4-3, when we have, for example, Delaney playing as the 6, and that gives Brandt a little bit of space to play as the number 8. But I do agree that is the next best position I think Brandt can play in. And when you've seen Leverkusen play in the 3-4-3, when you had Kai Havertz as well as Brandt both playing as the number 8s, they work very well together. Who do you think could replace Akanji as our starting center back? Well, naturally, Zagadou would be Hummels on the right and Zagadou on the left. So I don't know what's going to happen with Akanji. He's been linked, obviously, to the Premier League. I did do a couple transfer predictions for you guys, so hopefully you guys stay tuned for the next couple days when we have a couple fun videos coming out. We do have our reaction video to my Bundesliga predictions coming out tomorrow. It was pretty embarrassing, if I'm being totally honest. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. But we're going to get a couple more questions here, and then we're going to wrap up. I hope Leverkusen and Leipzig enjoy the time they had ahead of us because their holiday, we're going to be back up the table. Love the confidence. But it is, in my opinion, as a fan of the Bundesliga, just nice in general to have Leverkusen and Leipzig putting up these kind of performances and competing at the top of the table. Makes it a lot more interesting because there's nothing I like to see more than a title race. So I'm hoping that instead of those two, though, it's Dortmund and Bayern. Well, no, I don't. I hope Bayern goes down a little bit, but you know what I mean. I just like the competitiveness of the Bundesliga this season, and I'm happy to see teams like Leverkusen, for example, have a decent run of form. And our final question here before we go, I miss the Witsel-Brandt duo. It left us open at the back, but it was at least fun to watch. Yeah, and that was in the 3-4-3 formation when Brandt was able to go up a little bit, which, like you mentioned, left Witsel kind of alone. But yeah, I mean, I hope Witsel can turn his form into what we obviously are used to because he is such a good player, and I do have a lot of love. So I'm sorry, guys, on the channel if you thought that I didn't respect Witsel, because Axel Witsel, in my opinion, completely changed the way that we played when he came to the club. Unfortunately, it's the twilight years in his career, and yeah, it's going to be hard for him to keep up those consistent performances because he was just such an energetic player. But with that, guys, it's going to come to the end to our community takeaways. Let me know, though, in the comments after the video if you do like doing this, because we will be doing watch-alongs from pretty much now and hopefully for the rest of the season, because the Bundesliga will be back for the Wolfsburg one. So I don't know if I'm just going to do the quick 5 takeaways, or if you like these community ones, I definitely want your guys' opinion. And if you are new around here, I mean, definitely be sure to comment, like, and subscribe. You can continually to grow, and it's all good thanks to you guys. I really appreciate the support on the channel. So until next time, guys, take care, and we will see you, I guess, hopefully for a couple of FIFA streams. I don't know. I want to do some fun stuff with you guys over the break. So hopefully I will see you then. Take care, everyone, and have a Merry Christmas.